Alright, you guys have all been bugging me about the dial manipulation. I learned in such an unconventional way, and I'm still learning. It's one of my favorite things. I've gotten into a lot of things with not just manipulation, bypassing manufacturer codes, things like that. By it already being opened, and I took it apart and worked with it, until I figured them out. But basically, you got your group 2, like your S&G 6730 here, and this is dash E, the 6730 dash E. I don't know what the dash is, I'll have to ask somebody, but I think I'm going to start showing you starting from there. I guess I never took a class, I never worked with anybody really until very recently. I started learning from a locksmith, and then I haven't heard from him in a while, and so I had no formal. It was just years and years of books and random things I found and pulling them apart, and hell, for years I didn't even know what exactly half the parts were called or why they did what they did, but I got this I got me a display, so it'll make it quite a bit easier than trying to balance or do it on my safe over there. And don't roast me, because I'm still learning, and there's huge holes in my manipulation game. There just wasn't a lot out there, So, and on top of it, it's a cutaway. So that is awesome. That'll work out in our favor. I don't even know if this is the best lock to start out with for manipulation, or maybe it's a direct drive, I don't know, but the basic premise of these dial locks is you got a group 2, you got a group 2B or A. I should have looked that up before I started making the video, but I'm not going to change it. And a group 2 is minimal manipulation deterrence in your safe lock. Okay, so that's your 6730s, your Lagarde, I should have wrote that down too, but it is what it is. And Moslers and Yales and stuff like that, your basic that you see around all the time that isn't like on a fucking jewelry store dial, or a dial you obviously spent quite a lot of money on. And they're a good safe dial. They're good. It basically goes by, I believe it's the amount of time it takes the average person to manipulate or bypass it, is how they rate them, just like any other lock. But you know, there's the Big Red, which is my favorite, which is literally a carbon copy of the S&G's 6730s, and the Big Red just literally copied the S&G's that I know of. Their parts are interchangeable, but I'm just obsessed with the anodized wheels in there. I think I'm going to put it in here. I really think I am. But first, I want to show you what the basic premise of dial manipulation is. And God knows there's fucking way better videos out there than mine. And I'm probably basically just copying my words and my thoughts, their videos on it. So sorry, this is the best I can do. And if it seems like I'm copying anything you guys did, I probably kind of am, because I learned a lot from you. But basically, you can have 3, 4 dials. You can have plastic. These are wheels. Sorry, wheels. Oh, and then the group 1. You got the 2B, which, wait, let's pump the brakes here. You got your basic, decent safe dial group 2s, and then you got lower ones that are, I don't even know what they consider or call those. And then you got your group 2B, I believe it is, and that is the next level up, which is, it's not a group 2, but it's basically a group 2, but it has, which is the next level, group 1 deterrents put it in it, mixed together with the group 2. So, like, what's a good one? Is it the Legarde 1985? That has, it'll have, the group 1 will have, like, well, we won't get into that. See, it's so hard for me to explain it. That's why I've had such a hard time making these videos, and why it's taken me so long. But let's get into the basics of what you're doing when you're manipulating a group 2 wheel. Basically, what you're doing is feeling for gates. Okay? Each one of these wheels, even though they're cut out and they're supposed to be the the same circumference and everything. Some are a little oval shaped, some are a little bigger, some are a little smaller. And what you're doing is you're feeling it on the fence here. This is called the fence. This is what slides in. I will, let's open this one. I don't even really know what the combination is. So see, I put the first notch at the on the fence. Oh shit! I start going the wrong way because I'm. But you see these. Where are they? There's one right there, and then there's one down there. Those openings, those are the gates, and that's what you want your fence to go into. And basically what you're doing is feeling for differences in the shape and feel of these wheels and your drive cam here. You're finding the highs and lows. And when you get them all lined up, shit, it's so hard doing it. I don't even know what the combination is, and I'm trying to show you. So you got your wheels, you got your drive cam here, you got the nose of your fence. You're trying to line up these gates with the fence. Let me so that when they're all three line up there, the fence falls in there and it opens your lock. The fence falls, you're at the nose of your fence falls into the drive cam there and actuates your lock. So that's what you're trying to do. And basically, you start off with feeling with the nose. And I don't know if this is going to help any. Need something a little taller. What do we got? What do we got? See, I'm so disorganized with this. I shouldn't even have made this video, but I'm going to do my best because I keep promising people I'm going to do it. But anywho, you see this drive cam here. What you're doing is you're putting all these wheels, because these wheels move independently to a certain point, and then when they hit that point, they pick up another wheel and then another wheel. And what you're doing is feeling for that little bump right there, where that nose hits there. That's what we call the the contact points. Okay, so that's, and it's very subtle, and you want to just touch it and find out where your contact point is. So I've turned all my wheels, got all three of them together, moving together, just like you would when you're going to put the combination dial in, and I'm finding the contact points. So with all my wheels to the left, I am feeling for this contact point. And this contact point, what it tells me is where I can start looking for these gates. It gives me a good starting off point, okay? And I mean, when you're finding your high contact point and your low contact point that you graph off of here, and if you want to graph, there's a really great one that Lock Manipulator posted, which I'm going to get laminated for myself in the Broke University in his little section over there, because that man taught me a lot. He's a very good teacher. But anyway, what you're wanting to do is, do I have a fucking... Well, it's either going to be permanent or not. What you're wanting to do is graph points every so many, and then when you feel a drop, that's when you're possibly hitting a gate, okay? So you'll go along, oh, it's pretty steady, and then it drops off, and then comes back up. That was probably a gate, and we'll get more into that later. But I just wanted you to have a basic understanding of the graphing, which I did upside down, but still. And you want to do it with all the wheels to the left, and then grab all your wheels and pull them all to the right, and then you can narrow it down to where these gates are. So, and when you're manipulating this, I mean, it's just the faintest touch, because you want to split each one of these numbers right here into, a lot of people say eighths. I don't do eighths. I can't, my vision isn't that good. I do it in thirds or fourths. So between 0 and 1, there's 0 1/4, 0 1/2, 0 3/4, and 1. And a lot of people do it in eighths, and I can't do that. I do have a laser, a lot of that G Keyman let me use, and a lot of people use that when they're manipulating locks to get it down to that, because when you get up into the higher ones, the group 1s and stuff, it is, you have to be able to, I forgot how to turn that on. Oh. Oh, I must have killed the battery, damn it. Anyway, you'd put your laser line on there and you could get every little increment, because that's how delicate the group ones and higher up you go are. So with my bad eyesight, I do I thought I had another laser pointer. I do quarters. And what you're doing is finding these contact points and just touching them without banging it into it and moving it up, because that's a half or a whole or a number and a half. That little bit right there. That's bumping it. You just want it to touch. If you bump it like that, it's a number and a half. And that's the difference between getting it open and not. So you want to find your low contact point and your high contact point. And you got to learn how to turn the dial very slightly and just rest the nose of your fence here against this drive cam. And you get your high contact point, and then get your low, and you want to just rest it up there. And this would be 9 3/4. So I didn't even get it. Let's see. So it's just barely touching on there. Let's see where we're at. We are at 5, 6. We are at 6 1/4 on the low contact point. Okay. So then you go to your graph with all wheels left, and you go, here's 0, here's 5. So you go 5 1/4. So that dot would go there. That's how you graph these out, and it gets, you got to be precise. Even with the supposedly easier group 2s, it's you need to be precise, and you need to be able to learn that feel, and you need to be able to, like this particular one, the one I got on my safe over here is the exact same dial and everything, but it's older. It's got dirt. It's got grime all over the wheel, so it grips. Just the oils from your hand on here on this one, because it's barely used, is slippery. So you got to come up with ways of making sure that you got a good grip on it. Whether it's like, I'm gonna throw some of this shitty sports tape on there. That it literally only sticks to its fucking self. It's a pain in the ass. But if I had a rubber band, I'm out of rubber bands. I would put the rubber band on there. So what I'm going to do, so I don't have that slipping problem, and you don't want to cover up your numbers, is throw some of this athletic tape for athletes, because this is a sport and we need to tape ourselves up. It's a full contact contact point sport. See how did you get that? Yeah, I am that good. But you got to think out of the box, definitely. So now I can get a good grip on that, because I usually do it with my thumbs like this, but it's slippery, and you got to be able to find that contact point. So anyway, you narrow down the contact point. There's that contact point, and then you bring it so many numbers and you bring it back, and then you see that fence drop a little bit more. That's the drop I'm talking about. So instead of your low being at 6 when I tested it, because I would go forward 2 and then come back to the contact point, go forward 4, come back to the contact point 5, back to the contact point, until I seen a dip. So this would be the dip. And what did we say that was? 6 1/4. This is 6 1/2. Believe it or not, that quarter is a huge difference. And that can mean there is a gate there that this fence that I was talking about that rides on these wheels falls into, and you get a deeper it goes a little bit more numbers. So with all that being said, and it's probably confusing as fuck, because I done confused myself, because as much as I want to make these videos, I literally don't know how. Why don't we fucking take this guy apart and fuck all kinds of shit up? Because I want to manipulate it with these guts in there, because I've manipulated 50 of these, even though this is the exact same. It's a big red version. I don't know why. I love the anodized. And I know there's one of the companies makes a blue anodized. I want one of those too. I'm just obsessed with safe locks. But because I could just sit there and watch them spin all fucking day and catch, and there's a dip, there's your bottom, your different contact points, and then lining it all up. And to think that back in the 18, when was that, were they pretty much invented in the 18 or 1700s? I'll have to look. I used to know. But to me, the fact that back then they came up with the mechanics of putting this together, the beginnings of safe dials, is just absolutely fascinating to me. But we'll take one more quick look, and I'll point out everything, and then I'll start taking it apart and showing you each part and how they come together and what you got to do and things like that. But just to go over, this is a 3-wheeled Group 2, and to start out manipulating a lock, you're looking for your high, which is the nose hitting the top there, and your low, the nose hitting the bottom of that gate on your drive cam, and then moving a couple, and then doing it again, and then moving it a couple more numbers, depending on, once you learn, like I think this is these S&Gs are about a number and a half leeway that you can be off, you know, a number and a half plus or minus what the actual number is. So you're playing off of a number and a half plus or minus, and then your very subtle feels through the way it feels through the dial, that the shaft comes all the way through and connects to your spline key. And that's the basics of it. So what you'll have is, and I tape this up so I can move it, is you got your numbered dial. You got your dial, which is connected to the spline that goes all the way through, which is the rod. It's solid again. This dial and the spline, the rod, that goes all the way through the safe door into the lock itself, through all the wheels here, and then out at the other end. This is the only connection that is that connecting rod there, they call the spline. Okay, then next here is your dial ring, and that's obviously, that's how you open the lock, is by putting whatever number it is to open these in here and aligning the gates to the fence, to the nose that opens it. This right here is called the shit, and I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, when you have all your wheels aligned in the position, you have what's called a change key. And there's quite a few. I used to have 99% of them. I had them in a something similar to this, you know, but they were all safe. Let me check my camera here. They were all safe, different, from different safe companies like Mosler, S&G, Lagarde, Yale, all that stuff. They were change keys for all of them, and what these do is disengages the wheels, because there's a wheel, and then in between the outside of the wheel and the inside of the wheel is a brass ring, and it disengages that brass ring so you can change the key code. Okay, so when you put this in through the back here, I don't know what's going on outside. At 2 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. Just seems kind of odd. Alright, anyway. So you'd put it in change key slot right here, and it fits, and all the companies have a different style, you know, but this one will work for obviously the Big Red because they're pretty much the same lock. But anyway, you put it all the way in, you turn it a quarter turn, and then it frees up those wheels, and you dial in your new desired combination into this indicator right here, not the one to open it, but the this indicator here. That's what this one is for. So you'll first put it in, dial it in here, just like you would to open it, and then you set it, turn the key back, and set all those wheels back to locked in, and pull your key out, and your code is changed, because like this is for Sergeant, and Greenleaf, and obviously Big Red, and I think this even worked on my my S&G 8880 padlocks and stuff like that. I think this one even worked on that. And then this is a Lagarde, and then I got a Mosler left, I think, up there, and that's the rest of my stuff up in Alaska, which I got more of these. I got another S&G, and then I got a couple of Lagarde. They're Group 2, which is I can't remember the numbers on them, but, and then I got a Mosler, and then I got two Group 1s up there. I can't remember what the one is, but the other one's a Lagarde 1985 that people have a lot of trouble with, that people ask me about, and I literally just got it before I came down. I played with it for a few minutes here and there. I never really got to try it too much. But so anyway, you got your safe dial, your spline, which is a rod that goes all the way through, your change combination indicator, and then your open indicator. And then you go, and I'll show you on the back of this. So this is sitting like this. This would be the other side. That post would go through there, and it comes out there. So it goes through all the wheels, and it connects to this, what we call the drive cam. Now the drive cam has to be set in there a certain way, and this one is actually better to show you, because when I got this off the guy, I watched this thing for 8 months. He was trying to sell this on Facebook Marketplace, and he wanted like $300 for it. He's like, hey, that's how you learn. I never could do it, so I'm going to sell it. I'm like, dude, I'll give you $40. I ended up giving him 40 or 60 bucks. I can't remember. But this is a drive cam, and this is a fly. The fly's on here, but this catches the fly, which is this little piece right here that moves, that lets each one move independently. It catches that, and then it moves that wheel, and then obviously it goes down the line. Fly catches a fly, catches a fly. And these drive cams are different from company to company. Like I am 99% sure that this is a Lagarde, drive cam, because I haven't seen a black S&G. They're usually this brass, and the same thing with the obviously with the big red, they're brass, but it works. You can still set it, but anyway, that's a good thing to know, is that there's that little nub there that catches the fly. And then there's 4 spots on here that have 2 letters that indicate a notch right there. So under that notch is 2 letters. Under that one is 2 letters, and so on and so forth. What that does is indicates which way your lock bolt is facing. So you have LH, which is left hand open, which is, this is right hand open, right? Yeah, you turn to the right. Okay, so this is a right hand open. It's confusing because the cameras and shit like that. So what that means is this bolt is on the right side of the lock. This lock is facing this way, because you can face this any direction, and that plays a big role in where the number's at on your dial up front here. So you got left hand open, which is this, and then the next one over is VD. Some of you probably have that and need some penicillin, but you know, we all, sometimes you just gotta take one for the team. But anyway, VD stands for vertical down. So instead of the lock bolt being left hand, it's vertical down. So this thing is completely turned this way, and that locking bolt is on the bottom here. And then you got right hand open, obviously. And then you got vertical up, which is, I don't think I need to explain much more than that. But the next thing you need to know is why those are there. Because they're there so that you can put the spline key in this notch. And the spline key is right here. You know, who gave me a camera and let me fucking decide to make a fucking hour-long video? Shit, this is 43 minutes. We'll do the spline key. And anyway, this is a spline key. I'm not going to take it off right now. We're at 43 fucking minutes. Okay. That has to hit on, this is left hand open, but you can hardly read it on this. And that spline key has to point there, and there's little notches in the spline. So you put that key in there, and it locks it in there, which tells the numbers on the front. Sorry this is such a long video. I'm going to attempt to cut it in half and do 20 and 20 or something. But anyway, that's the introduction to lock manipulation, taught horribly by me. I've probably confused you more than anything. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.